This is one of those days in history where we all ask ourselves, where were you on the day when Nelson Mandela passed away? And where did you hear that news? Where were you? What were you doing at the time? Gosh, I'll never forget it for myself where I was. I was sitting in a hotel room in Bloemfontein. We were waiting to do a broadcast the next morning, all about skydiving and all of these exciting things. And then we got a phone call to say that President Mandela had passed away. And of course, the devastation that was inside every single one of us, where all the plans that we'd all put in place for bringing all of those plans to the nation were put into action. And it was just a devastating time for the whole of South Africa. And I'm sure you've got the same story to tell wherever you were at the time. Please let us know at Morning Live SABC. Well, 3 years down the line, after the passing of our former great statesman, residents of his birthplace continue to celebrate his good deeds. This is a reminder and a lesson to other South Africans to emulate this world-renowned icon. Let's cross over to our reporter, Zimkhita Manqinana, who is she's in Qunu, and she's at the Youth and Heritage Centre. And let's see who she's going to be joined by now. It's over to you, Zimkhita. Good morning to you.
Welcome back to the Eastern Cape, Leanne. Well, on that day, I was sleeping and I got a call as well, just like you, to go to Qunu to deliver the news to the nation that he has passed on. But today, we're not talking about that, Leanne. We are talking about how do we celebrate his life? How do we remember the values that he stood for? I'm coming to you from inside the Bunga building, where festivities are expected to take place here today. If you can see behind me, those candles are part of the candles, 95 candles that will be lit today as a sign of remembering Dr. Nelson Mandela. But to talk to us through the events and the program for today, we're joined by the MEC for Arts and Culture in the province, Pemmy Majodina. Good morning, ma'am, and welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much to the viewers at home. Yes, indeed, it is such an important day for us, still fresh in our minds, but we cannot keep on mourning. We must celebrate the life that was well lived by Dr. Mandela.
Ma'am, just tell us, as the province of the Eastern Cape, which is home to Dr. Nelson Mandela, what are you doing during the year to make sure that you keep on his legacy?
One of the important events that the Premier have launched is that let's have war rooms where we care for one another in each and every ward out of the 705 wards. Let be activities where we identify the needy people and go out on Ubuntu to stretch our hands and arms to embrace them and to love them and to assist them. And that on its own, it takes us back to our indigenous caring as African people in particular, and to ensure that every day is a Mandela Day. We no longer focus on the 18th. That is why you see us here today. You saw us yesterday on the Comrades Marathon, that in each and everything that we do, we must touch the life of one person.
What is the significance of the lighting of the 95 candles and the releasing of the 25 doves?
95 candles is to celebrate the years that Dr. Mandela had to live, and we'll have a bigger candle, 96 candle, which will be lit by the Premier to ensure that his legacy, Dr. Mandela's legacy, does not fade. Because he left an indelible mark in the community, in the world. Therefore, we want to make it a point that in each and every one of us, we light that candle in our heart to open up. On the doves, 27 doves, remember that he stayed for 27 years in prison, fighting for non-racialism, fighting for a non-sexist country, a united country, of course, and a peaceful. With those 27 doves, we are releasing peace from local to national and to the world. The world is at anger. The world is fighting on its own. And we are saying we cannot afford to be a fighting nation, a fighting world. We must all stretch arms of peace, love one another, and no to wars. Especially now we are doing this during the 16 days of activism on no violence against children and women. And that is what Dr. Mandela stood for.
How do you put together, incorporating youth, bringing them to these events to make sure that it's not only the grown-ups, it's not only the working class that is involved in such events, young people, rural people, how do we involve them to make sure that they are part of these initiatives?
We are rolling out the programs to schools by flagging each and every school, because as you flag the school, you talk about national symbols. When you talk about national symbols, there are no national symbols outside Mandela. So we also have dialogue, social cohesion and nation building dialogue, as to say how do we accept one another on cultural diversities. So we have launched that program at the end of October, and it's rolling out throughout the year. We're also linking Mandela with Oliver Regional Tambo. Tomorrow we'll be launching the OR Tambo Centenary, because we said from the first commander to the last commander, and these are the Eastern Cape legends. And when we say we're home of legends, we don't have confusion. We're very clear, and we're claiming our space at the right time.
Thank you very much for your time, MSC. Well, a lot of activities are going to take place. Even the family of Dr. Nelson Mandela will have their own laying of wreaths at the Qunu home. That's all we have time for now. It's back to you in Johannesburg.